Hello! This is the final set from my upcoming short animation film. Today I'm going to walk you through how I go about making a shot like this. Well, without me in it, just the scene. Before we proceed with the breakdown of the hospital reception area, some context is needed to justify my choice of lighting and colors. The film is loosely inspired by a time when I broke my leg. I was stuck in bed and desperately craving a can of Coke. You see, I love Coca-Cola, although they recently hurt me when they released their most recent Christmas ad created entirely with AI. What were they thinking? It sucks. Look at these animals. They look so AI. Anyway, that's a rant for another time, I guess. In my story, a boy confined to a hospital bed suddenly craves a soft drink when a vending machine in the corridor buzzes to life and is very tempting. However, his legs are no use, and the nurse has strictly forbidden junk food, warning him it could hinder his recovery. Despite the odds, his determination overrides reason as he flops out of bed and drags his body across the floor, desperate to reach the drink. But the vigilant nurse is not about to let this slide without a fight. How did I create this shot? Well, first of all, I wanted something cinematic. I envisioned a head nurse who runs the place, she's the boss, a real authority figure. As I always do before starting a scene, I searched for reference stills from films that I like or shots that matched the tone I was aiming for. Since this nurse is the boss, the first scene that came to my mind was the iconic Corleone shot from The Godfather.
That I cannot do.
You know, the one in the office in the dark. I love the shadows in this scene. Very contrasty. You can tell the man means business, scheming behind closed doors instead of being transparent about his dealings. This type of lighting is what I wanted for my character. But for the background, I need something different because it's a hospital and not an office. I also wanted to maintain the lighting in the back here. I went through countless references and eventually settled on a shot from The Good Nurse. Oh, I really like the lighting, especially the practical lights in the background shelving area. I molded both these shots into one and came up with this sketch. Then I started modeling my scene. In the past, I would have used F-Spy to get the camera perspective, but this time I just modeled by eye. Why? Well, no good reason, I just felt like doing things differently. That's the great thing about 3D, there's a million ways to achieve the same result. Most of the assets you see here are free ones from BlenderKit, which I use to block out the scene. Some assets, like the door and desk, I made myself. Poorly, as you can tell. Let me make one thing clear, I am not a 3D artist. I see myself more as a filmmaker and I use whatever tools I can get to create the shots that I want. Making films solo is so tough, so I take shortcuts to get things done quickly and cheaply. If you want to get a job in 3D, then don't do what I do and learn 3D modeling properly. Besides, the scene is dark, and with a depth of field on the camera, most of these details won't be noticed by the audience anyway. Lighting is my favorite part because it saves me from losing my mind. My first renders always look like this and I go into panic mode. But I take a few deep breaths and pray to the gods of light to bless the scene. I start by switching off all the global lights and adding area lights one at a time. My favorite type of lighting is practical lighting, so I use it as much as possible. Practical lights are things like the desk lamp or screens, basically any object where you can see the source of light. Even when the light source doesn't entirely make sense, our brains somehow tend to fill in the gaps. For example, I place this desk lamp in the background. Ideally, it should have been in front of the character to justify the light on her face. But I didn't think it looked good. It was too distracting. Still, we can mentally connect the lamp in the back to the light on her face. And it somehow works. I kept referring back to the reception shot from The Good Nurse because the lighting was so good and it matched the tone I wanted. Since my shot is a bit different, it has a character in focus, so I leaned more towards the Godfather lighting. I did this to draw attention to the character and to give the scene a serious she means business vibe. When it comes to camera lens, I tend to opt for a wide angle lens. I just love the way it distorts images. I believe the optical curves it creates makes it feel more whimsical and interesting. I don't like straight lines, especially when it comes to 3D work. It just makes it feel a bit more boring. But I also break up straight lines with a soft brush. I don't want to repeat myself, but straight lines are boring. As for the character, I'm not ready to create high quality models myself yet. I often pay for assets when it comes to characters, but my New Year's resolution is to learn character design properly. The clothing simulation I made myself using Marvelous Designer. This is my process. I started off by stripping the character. Sorry grandma, I added an animation I found on Mixamo. Then I retargeted that animation to my character, using Marvelous Designer to add clothing and simulate it. Then bring it back to Blender. This is my workflow I use for many animations. I might dive in deeper on another video. Maybe. Here's the final scene without me in it, because I ruin it. Yeah, what do you think? Does it look cinematic? Does it suit the animation style? For me, I like the shot, and I guess that's the important thing, so I can finally move on from this set and now start creating my animation film. Yep, that's the focus this month, is to get my film out. Wish me luck. It's not easy. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Peace.